Hey guys, this is the Ganzo G729. It is the Spyderco paramilitary 2 look-alike. The biggest difference in design between these two knives, the paramilitary 2 and the G729, is the fact that this one has an axis lock. The first Ganzo knife that I tested was the G720. That is the SR1 look-alike. And you can watch the videos, see what I did to it, and see what happened to the knife, what was the extent of the damage. And I would say that is pretty acceptable. Now this is nothing like the G720. This actually looks much more, or behaves much more like the paramilitary 2 in comparison to the G720 and the SR1. But I was very curious. I got this knife about 3 days ago. Everything I did to it was sharpen it. It did come sharp, but I did modify the edge angle and sharpen it a bit more. I did not get it to razor sharp. It would rip out hairs and it would slice through paper, and I call that a working edge, and I started testing it. I came out here just to see if I would like it in this regard as much as I like the G720. Now this is much lighter, and I did use the G720 for chopping and batoning, for splitting wood, and also cross grain batoning. The difference between the G720 and all the other Ganzo models that I have held in my hand is the distance that the axis lock has to travel until it disengages the blade, or until it disengages itself and releases the blade. With the G720, the way is much longer. With the G729, hope you can see it, it's about 1.5 millimeters. And that did happen. I did baton this in a piece of wood, and when you hit the blade and apply some pressure to it, it will disengage the lock and release the blade. Now, initially, this happened while cross-grain batoning. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Right now, I think that it's set a bit, and it doesn't happen as often. In the beginning, it happened with almost every hit. I tried to split a piece of wood, and this wood was rotten on top and on the bottom, and it happened with every small hit. Now, in my opinion, this spine whack test is not the best test of a knife, of a folder, of a locking mechanism. I can't really grab it safely and hit it without fearing that it will close on my fingers. But I'm thinking that this whack is sufficient for you to say, you know what, this is not going to close on my fingers. You could also do it like this. And you see the lock did not disengage. A better test, if you want to see if the knife is likely to close on your fingers, would be to actually put a hole in something, because this is when you might exert pressure on the spine of the blade and it will close. Or just put the knife down and try to close it. Mind your fingers though. And that did not happen. The only time it happens now is if I hit it and apply pressure to the handle. But I would say that this is acceptable. It could be done better if this bolt would need to travel a longer way like with the G720, then you wouldn't have this problem. I did a lot of shaving wood in green wood, in rotten wood, and also in this piece of wood which was half rotten and half very good for shaving. And it still does it. Now the knife does not shave anymore. The tip does take off some hairs, but the rest doesn't do that. I don't know if it slices paper. However, you can still get nice fine curls if that's what you would want to do. You can still get them. Still goes in very controlled, and because it has this nice flat grind which is very thin, you can cross grain baton through a piece of wood very fast, which is just a fun thing to do. Now you don't need to baton or chop with a folder. This is a test, and I think this one made the cut, so to say. I like it so far, and I have to be fair and say that this is a bit more comfortable than the Paramilitary 2. The scales on the Paramilitary 2 have a 90-degree edge right here. It's rounded, but it doesn't have this chamfer. You can, of course, modify your Para 2 and just take some sandpaper and sand the G10 down. This one comes like that from the factory, and it is more comfortable. Now, with both knives, if you wear gloves, they're going to be more comfortable. That's a no-brainer. But as such, very happy with it. From everything that I did with it, no forward-backward blade play, however, side-to-side blade play. That is a given. Now, that did become a bit smaller because the knife is very dirty, and most of the dirt will be right here. I don't know if you can see it, but you can also change that by tightening the pivot screw. You can put Loctite in, Teflon tape. I heard that one. That one seems to make more sense to me than Loctite. The pocket clip does not stay in there as well. It does have some movement, you can see, but you could tighten it, and it does sit in your pocket very, very well. So far I like it. This was just an initial test, and I will get to testing this some more, and at some point I would like to see how much I have to work on it to get the edge back to where it might shave or slice paper cleanly. One pleasant surprise, even though I did a lot of cutting, and so I cut a lot of wood shavings, and then when I needed to break them off, I would twist, and I would dig the knife in the wood and twist, and not just this piece of wood, but also a piece of drier dogwood. And whenever you hit a knot, it can happen that you get microchips or a bend in the blade. That did not happen. I looked at the blade, and I could not see any bends or chips in it. Of course, I worked with this knife for about 30-35 minutes, so I can't really say that it's not going to get any chips or bends, but so far I like it. It'll set you back about $17-18, and I would not baton with my Paramilitary 2, but I have no problems batoning and digging and cutting very, very dirty pieces of wood with my G729. One more thing I have to say. I do like my G720 more than I like my SR1, because it's more comfortable, because I tested it and saw what it can really handle. I would not trade my Paramilitary 2 for this. I would trade my G720 for my SR1, but I would not trade my Paramilitary 2 for this. In my opinion, the Paramilitary 2 is a great design. And it just goes to show that not even if you get a $20 knife that can do some things just as well as the paramilitary 2, and that can handle batoning or chopping better than the paramilitary 2 could, I would not choose this over the paramilitary 2. I think it's just a great design. It's a good knife. I like it. You know, so it just goes to show, if the design fits, no company needs to worry about lookalikes. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions about it, just add them in the comment section. I'll get to them as soon as possible. Thanks for watching, and as always, I wish you all a great day.